Crawford. If you have questions, raise your hand.
Terence, Andreas here from the Sporting News. Just talked to Errol. He said he hopes to get the rematch and he would like to have the rematch at 154 pounds. Are you interested in moving up in weight for the rematch, or does it have to be at 47?
Definitely don't have to be at 47. Like I said, you know, I'm in a hurt business. 47 was kind of hard for me too. I was already talking about moving up in weight and challenging Charlo. So 54 wouldn't be outreach of anything.
He would like to have the rematch at 154 pounds. Are you interested in moving up in weight for the rematch, or does it have to be at 47?
It definitely don't have to be at 47.
We unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live, Boxingego unpack. Yeah. We unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live. Velcro his tongue. Hope dude stick to his words. Joey, did Terence Bud Crawford stick to his words? That's what we're gonna find out right here in this video. We unpack. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Now, I love it. I love my job. I get paid to entertain y'all good people. And as far as the haters, yeah, stay tuned. I got much more for you. Now, it's funny, when I make videos about certain subjects, sometimes you have fans of that fighter, not fans of boxing, but fans of a fighter, and they say stuff like, oh, Boxingego, but please no, why are you making another video? Listen, as a full-time content creator, which has been the case for several years, I am obligated to post with titles and descriptions that, per community guidelines on YouTube, that encapsulate what I'll be talking about. So obviously, this is my job, I abide by those rules. Meaning, you can't upload a video without a title. And it's so funny to hear the Bud Buddies cry. They see a video about Terence Crawford on the channel as it pertains to something I want to talk about on my channel, and they say, oh, not another Terence Crawford video. But literally, the title tells you what the video is about. You don't have to click on it. You're choosing to click on the video because I am your master, and I'm just too hot. We unpack. So without further ado, let's talk about it. Now, the clip you heard at the beginning was Terence Crawford, and that was Crawford immediately after beating Errol Spence and becoming 2X undisputed. Bravo, you beat him, 2X undisputed. And it was a very simple question, which seemingly had a simple response from Crawford. Question was something to the effect of, I just talked to Errol Spence. The boxing reporter says, I just talked to Errol Spence right now. He says he would love the rematch. There's a rematch clause in the contract, but he prefers the rematch at 154. Is this a fight that you could do at 54, or would you only do it at 47? Very easy, boom, very easy. Terence Crawford, he fumbled. Now, he didn't fumble in terms of saying anything wrong per se. It's what he said does not coincide with what his team is saying right now. Crawford responded. He said, yeah, we could do the fight at 154. He said that 147 was difficult for me to make too. I was already talking about moving up in weight to fight Jermell Charlo, so fighting Errol Spence in a rematch at 154 would not be out of reach or anything. And he literally said, if you listen again, if you don't believe me, rewind this track and picture me rolling. The kid with the golden voice is back. The first words out of his mouth were, it definitely don't have to be at 147. I'm in the hurt business, and 47 wasn't the easiest for me to make either. But now, fast forward to the future, your teammate, which you haven't come out and corrected to this video, as of me recording this video, is saying it definitely does matter, and we want to fight Errol Spence only at 147, where people are saying he is drained. Oh yeah, it's a bad look, y'all. Again, the thing is this. People, they get mad at the channel. They get mad at me. That means you mad at the truth. This is not Terence Crawford AI, where I input some components into Chat GPT and I came out with this simulation of Terence Crawford's voice saying these things. He's on video and he said these things. So as a man, I can only hold you to your word. It's like Scarface said, all I have is my word and my balls, and I don't break them for nobody. So in terms of the RN, real Nia, this doesn't bode well for Crawford to have clearly, and I do mean clearly, said, I will be open to 54. It definitely don't have to be at 147, but now your team is saying it definitely does have to be at 147. And then when I make content about it, you got the Bud Buddies there with crying in there. They're crying like, oh, why are you making this video? I am holding Crawford or anybody else in boxing, say it with me, accountable for what they say. Now, it's not even just about accountability. It's we didn't forget. The internet doesn't forget. People don't forget. So even if Crawford, quote unquote, gets away with it, I am a free thinker and it's freedom of speech. So I can talk about and interpret these ideas. It's public domain. This is not like some leak tape of Terence Crawford audio. This is all stuff that you guys seen. So yeah, I'm going to use my channel to conversate about these various things. And especially when they don't add up, I'm going to call it out, you know? So that's where we're at right now. You specifically said it don't have to be at 47. Now you're saying it does have to be at 147. And just in case you missed my previous video where I went over the initial conversation, this is Terence Crawford, one of his friends, his right-hand man, a fighter, Steve Nelson, right? He said facts. And to all the people out here spreading false narratives, Bud is offering Errol a fight at 147. If he doesn't take it, which we are hoping he doesn't because it's a waste of time, then Bud wants to do something different that hasn't been done and move up 3 weight classes to beat Canelo. So this is definitely, the video I played at the beginning, definitely not aging well. So you're basically admitting, your team is admitting that basically Crawford is trying to snake Errol Spence Jr. because I understand formalities, and this is partly Errol Spence's fault because I made a video, the huge mistake that Errol Spence made. Please check that video out. But partly it's Errol Spence's, his fault based on this. It's Errol Spence's fault based on the fact that he was so willing to make the fight that he did anything to make the fight, including, but not limited to, giving up his leverage. And I've talked about this in several videos. This is a huge mistake made on behalf of Errol Spence. Errol Spence admitted before he lost to Terence Crawford that his own team wanted him to move on because Terence Crawford had several demands. And it's almost like a relationship. And I'm going to give you guys an analogy. If a girl is dating a guy and he's showing red flags like that he has a bad temper, you just met the dude and you're on the first date, second date, and you see these red flags, that definitely could be an indication of what trouble lies if you continue down this path. You know, so you got to be cognizant of red flags in a relationship. Or, you know, it could be a guy. If a guy's dating a girl and she's super clingy and you just met her, like, how does she have these intense feelings to the point where she's blowing you up and insecure and wants to know where you're going and things like that? You're just getting to know each other, right? These are huge red flags in a relationship. So the red flag for Errol Spence should have been how he had failed negotiations with Terence Crawford, how difficult in its totality between the 2 different negotiations it was to make the fight, even though Crawford was a free agent at that space. These should have been huge red flags for Errol Spence that, hey, I might as well just move on with my career. Plus, Crawford knew and I knew, and I still thought Errol Spence could prevail because he had basically seen challenges in his career and he's had these ups and downs. So I still thought skillfully and like stylistically he could prevail versus Crawford, but it looks like not. But the inactivity, if I knew this and everybody else in boxing knew this, that means Errol Spence and Crawford knew this. So Errol Spence, he signed on the dotted line. He agreed to it. So that's on him. But it doesn't change the fact that that was clearly a strategy. The longer the negotiations spread, Crawford already bailed out of the first negotiations to go fight David Avocado. So he was a bit fresher in terms of some ring activity. He was in there with a guy we knew that couldn't beat him, David Avocado. So he had a fight in December versus Errol Spence was out a year. Again, we knew this, Errol Spence knew this, but that also means Crawford knew this. So that's just a little sidebar. But all these things to me were red flags. He wanted a coin flip. He felt the fight. I mean, he was saying, I got a hedge fund, check my hedge fund buddies. Then later he says he's glad he didn't take the hedge fund. He was saying that, oh, nobody buys pay-per-view and people are going to fire stick it. I mean, this is someone you want to do a pay-per-view with when they're telling you that he's saying at least his fan base is trying to fire stick it, or people in general, that's his perception. But then you got to sell a pay-per-view. It's really no mystery that this fight didn't do over 1 million pay-per-view buys, and that's just the reality of it. So all in all, there was a lot of red flags, and Errol Spence looked beyond it trying to please the fans, but he expected Terence Crawford and his team to perhaps move how he moves, which is just to be real straight up and down. And if you have a gentleman's bet or a gentleman's agreement, that it'll be honored. But Terence Crawford, he plays from a different set of rules, the Omaha rules or whatever, where he's like, nah, I know what I said on stage, but bump that. I got a contract that stipulates otherwise. I get to pick the weight. So I'm going to put you at a weight that actually stifles you. And since you've admitted, Errol Spence, another mistake, Errol Spence admitted that he wants the rematch at 154. They know that. He said that. You know what I mean? Errol Spence is maybe perhaps too candid and too nonchalant and too open. Sometimes it's the art of war. Sun Tzu, where you want to keep the chinks in your armor masked or somehow hidden, because that becomes a passageway and a weakness that can get exploited. And that's literally what's happening right now. You got Terence Crawford. He's 2X undisputed, still undisputed and undefeated. And he's on top of the world. He feels on top of the world. And again, all the red flags are now showing their face again, that he's not the easiest to deal with. His former promoter also hipped the world of boxing to this. And that was Bob Arum. He said, this guy is not easy to deal with. And to drive this point home and really prove it, here's some more from Team Crawford. He's responding to some fan. He said, how is that guessing? I said, we're, as in us as a team. He, which is obviously meaning Terence Crawford, doesn't want to waste time fighting Spence again. I don't care how drained y'all claimed he was. As a fighter myself, I know it doesn't make that much of a difference where you get whitewashed. So this is explicitly indicating that Team Crawford is aware that there's this big notion that Errol Spence was drained, because he just mentioned it. He said, I don't care how drained y'all claim he was. But then again, Crawford is not willing to test this theory because he's trying to fight Errol only at 47, despite the video I played at the beginning where he said otherwise. And that's why it looks bad, because you had a gentleman's agreement that 54 was definitely something you're open to. And now you're saying you want it at 47, but then you're admitting that you've heard the complaints that Errol Spence was drained and you're trying to keep him there. And then you're openly admitting as a team, you are hoping that he doesn't take the fight because it's a waste of time. Literally said in multiple tweets, he doesn't want to waste time fighting Spence again. But you have a contractual obligation. And again, you're a man. And as a man, people are going to hold you to your word. Crawford, in the other interviews, like him publicly, he was saying, yeah, I'll honor my contract in this, that, and the third. But now it sounded like he has a change of heart and he's trying to put it at a weight, hoping that Errol Spence will forfeit, like, yo, I can't make the weight. But then you're saying he's not drained because you wouldn't get whitewashed. Listen to what I just said. I just dropped the gem. That's a bar. Listen again. How can you claim that Errol Spence is not weight drained, but you're trying to have it at the lowest weight when he just told you that he wanted it at 54? Because, why would he want it at 54? It's kind of common sense. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to deduce why he would want it at a higher weight and keep saying that, right? So you're saying basically he's not drained, because even if you were drained, it wouldn't have looked like that. But then you're trying to keep it at the lowest weight, despite what Terence Crawford said about fighting him at 54. So you're claiming he's not drained, but then you don't want to test that theory at 154 by fighting him, and you're saying it's a waste of time. None of which Crawford was saying before. He was saying that, oh, I'll honor the contract and this, that, and the third. So you can see how this is not aged well, the initial statements. Maybe Crawford shouldn't have said that post-fight and things like that, but it sounds like you're trying to get out of the fight. To be honest, you're trying to find, not like you lost the fight or anything like that, because he single-handedly won like almost every round, but you're trying to, people are saying he's drained. He's saying he wanted to fight at 54. You basically had a gentleman agreement, and you're saying, oh no, weight drain doesn't make you look that bad. But then at the same time, you are trying to stifle him at 47 despite wanting fights with Canelo or Charlo at 68. So you're willing to move up, and you want to move up, but you just don't want to give Errol Spence a break. But then you and your team and your fans, the Bud Buddies, are saying weight don't matter. Crawford will thrash him no matter what. You see how it's all over the place? Drop your thoughts in the comment section. I'm the best in the business, and it's really not close. We unpack. Introducing Super Thanks. Right here on the official Boxingego YouTube. Super Thanks allows you, the viewers, to show a little bit of extra gratitude, which enables me as a full-time content creator to push out the content you need in the world of boxing. Underneath all the videos, you will see a heart with the $sign in it. You can enter any amount that you find suitable as a super thanks. A brand new interactive and colorful way to get your comments highlighted and noticed by not only myself, but other people on the YouTube platform. Super thanks, a unique and cool way to show and applaud us full-time content creators. Hopefully you guys enjoy the content. Super thanks. The future is now. The Hibernation 5s by Kenichi Bear. Hybrid gaming and lifestyle headphones. Out of the box, you can connect to any console or PC. Bluetooth ready with a low latency USB adapter, color RGB, and extreme bass mode. The Hibernation 5s adjust to you. Whether you need a gaming, travel, gym, or lifestyle headphones, the Hibernations got you covered. The new Hibernation 5s, link in the description. Customize the way you hear the world. Welcome to the nation. Are you tired of your YouTube videos not getting any views? Well, consider TubeBuddy. I've used TubeBuddy for years to scale up my YouTube channel. Now we're sitting over 200,000 subscribers. TubeBuddy is a browser extension that offers a ton of built-in productivity and time-saving services to take your channel to the next level. Use my link in the description to get started with TubeBuddy and level up your channel faster. We working.